Captain Doyun Kim stared at the viewport of the Taeho, watching stars blur past as his ship traveled faster than light. 3 months ago, humanity had achieved what seemed impossible. Now, they were exploring space like children who had just learned to walk. The alarm broke his thoughts. His communication officer turned with wide eyes. "Captain, we have multiple contacts. Very large signatures ahead." Doyun felt his heart race. "How many?" 73 ships, sir." "No, wait. More appearing. They're bigger than anything we've built." The Taeho dropped from FTL speed. What Doyun saw made his breath catch. Massive vessels floated in formation, each one different in shape and design. Some looked like crystals, others like living creatures. The smallest was twice the size of his ship. A message came through in perfect Korean. "Human vessel, you are commanded to stop. The Galactic Council wishes to speak with your species." Doyun exchanged looks with his crew. "The Galactic Council?" His hand moved to the communication button. "This is Captain Doyun Kim of Earth. We receive your message. You will follow our escort to the meeting station. This is not a request." 6 ships broke from the formation and surrounded the Taeho. Doyun knew he had no choice. "Understood. We'll follow." The journey to the station took 2 days. Doyun sent messages to Earth constantly. Back home, Ambassador Mireille Park read his reports with growing concern. She sat in the emergency council meeting with Earth's leaders. "They're not asking for permission," Admiral Taejin Cho said, his weathered face tight with worry. "They're giving orders. We should prepare our defenses." Mireille shook her head. "If they wanted to destroy us, they could have done it already. We need to understand what they want." "And if it's a trap?" Taejin asked. "Then we learn what kind of enemy we're facing," Mireille replied. "I'll go myself. We need our best people there." The decision was made quickly. Mireille would lead the delegation. She chose Dr. Jiwon Lee, humanity's top scientist, to analyze any technology they encountered. Marine Commander Hyunwoo Kang would provide security. They would meet Captain Doyun at the station. When Mireille's transport arrived at Apex Prime, she could barely believe what she saw. The station was enormous, easily the size of Earth's moon. Structures spiraled outward like a metal flower. Lights pulsed across its surface. Ships of every imaginable design came and went from thousands of docking ports. "There must be millions living here," Dr. Jiwon whispered, her scientific mind racing to understand the engineering involved. Hyunwoo stood beside them, his military training keeping him calm despite the sight. "Stay close. We don't know what we're walking into." They docked and met Captain Doyun inside. The station's interior was even more impressive. The corridors were wide enough to drive vehicles through. Aliens of hundreds of species walked past them. Some had scales. Others had fur. Some floated. Others crawled. A few looked almost human, while others were so strange that Mireille couldn't understand their basic shape. None of them paid attention to the humans. It was as if new species arrived every day. A tall being approached them. It had 6 arms and skin that shifted colors like oil on water. "I am Guide Ven. Follow me to the council chambers. Do not speak unless spoken to. Do not touch anything. Do not stray from the path." They followed through endless corridors. Mireille noticed something odd. Other new species groups they passed had maybe 3 or 4 members. The humans had a full security detail, and wherever they went, station guards watched them carefully. "They're treating us differently," Doyun muttered quietly. "I noticed," Mireille replied. "Stay alert." Finally, they reached a massive door that reached up into shadows. It opened slowly, revealing a chamber so large that clouds formed near its ceiling. Thousands of seats rose in tiers, each filled with an alien representative. At the center, a platform held 5 beings that radiated authority. Guide Ven gestured for them to step forward. Mireille led her team onto the floor of the chamber. She felt thousands of eyes on them. The weight of their attention was almost physical. One of the central beings spoke. Its voice was translated instantly into Korean. "Humans of Earth, you have achieved faster than light travel. By ancient law, you are now subject to the authority of this council. We welcome you to the galactic community. The word subject made Mirai's spine stiffen. She kept her face neutral. I am Speaker Corvin of the Hive Sphere Collective. The being continued. It looked like a collection of smaller creatures, moving as one. You have been summoned to learn your place in the cosmic order. All species who reach the stars must accept their role. All species must contribute to the greater whole. Another being stood. This one was reptilian, covered in dark red scales. I am War Master Thelm of the Krovar Empire. Your species is young and dangerous. We have watched Earth for some time. Your history is filled with violence and chaos. You cannot be trusted with freedom among the stars. Mirai felt anger rise in her chest but pushed it down. We came here in peace, she said carefully. Peace is irrelevant, Speaker Corvin replied. You will now learn what is required of you. You will learn the price of traveling beyond your world. The Council has stood for 50,000 years. We have brought order to chaos. We have prevented countless wars, and we have done this through one simple system. The chamber's lights dimmed. A hologram appeared showing a small planet. This is how it works, Speaker Corvin continued. You will accept protectorate status. You will follow our guidance. And in time, perhaps your descendants will earn a voice in this chamber. How much time? Doyun asked. War Master Thelm's lips pulled back, showing rows of sharp teeth. 500 years. Maybe less if you prove useful. Mirai looked at her team. Dr. Jiwan was recording everything. Hyunwoo's hand rested near his sidearm. Captain Doyun met her eyes, and she saw the same thought reflected there. This wasn't first contact. This was a trial, and humanity was already being judged. Speaker Corvin's voice echoed through the chamber. You have 48 hours to accept our terms. The alternative is isolation. Quarantine. Your species will never leave your solar system again. Choose wisely, humans. Every species who came before you made the right choice. The massive doors began to close behind them. Their meeting was over. But Mirai knew with absolute certainty that this was only the beginning. As they walked back through the corridors, Hyunwoo spoke quietly. Did they just threaten us? Yes, Mirai said. They absolutely did. The second meeting happened in a smaller chamber, but it was no less intimidating. Mirai and her team sat across from 3 council representatives. Speaker Corvin was there, along with War Master Thelm and a third being that looked like living crystal. This one introduced itself as Architect Vess of the Silicon Concordat. Let us be clear about what protectorate status means, Architect Vess said. Its voice sounded like wind chimes. Your species will surrender all sovereign authority to the Council. We will guide your development. Node. Dr. Jiwan leaned forward. What does that mean exactly? Guide our development? Speaker Corvin's collective body shifted. We will manage your resources. Your world has materials we need. Rare metals. Biological compounds. Water. These will be extracted for the good of the galactic community. You mean you'll mine our planet? Doyun asked. We will take what is needed, War Master Thelm said. In return, you receive our protection and wisdom. Mirai felt her jaw tighten. What else? Architect Vess projected a hologram. It showed humans in strange uniforms. Your species will provide military conscripts. Every protectorate contributes soldiers to the Council Defense Forces. This is non-negotiable. You want our people to fight your wars? Hyunwoo said, his voice hard. They will learn discipline and purpose, War Master, Thelm replied. Many of your kind will benefit from proper training. Your violent nature will be channeled productively. The hologram changed, showing images of genetic structures. There is also the matter of biological sampling, Speaker Corvin continued. Your genetic material is unique. We will collect samples from your population for study and use in breeding programs across the galaxy. The room went silent. Dr. Jiwan stood up slowly. You want to use human DNA in experiments? We prefer the term genetic optimization, Architect Vess said calmly. Many species have benefited from careful mixing of traits. Your aggression, your adaptability, your reproductive efficiency are all valuable. Mireille felt sick. And if we refuse? The hologram changed again. This time it showed 47 different planets. These species rejected our generous offer, Speaker Corvin said. They chose isolation over cooperation. They were quarantined in their home systems. None of them have advanced beyond primitive spaceflight. Most have destroyed themselves in pointless wars. 3 are now extinct. War Master Theln stood, his massive form towering over the table. The Council has maintained peace for 50 millennia. We have prevented hundreds of galactic wars. We have saved countless lives. This is only possible through order and hierarchy. Every species must accept their place, or die. Or stagnate. Architect Vess corrected. The choice is yours. But understand that no species has ever succeeded alone. The galaxy is vast and dangerous. Without our protection, you will face threats you cannot imagine. Mireille looked at the hologram showing the failed species. Can we see the full agreement? All the terms? Speaker Corvin produced a device that projected walls of text. The document was massive. Dr. Jiwan began reading immediately, her eyes widening with each section. Mireille tried to read along. The terms were worse than she imagined. Humanity would lose control of their military. Council representatives would have authority over Earth's governments. Human children could be taken for educational purposes on other worlds. Resources could be claimed without compensation. Technology sharing was mandatory, but only in one direction. This is slavery, Mireille said. This is civilization, War Master Theln replied. Your species is too young to understand. You think of yourselves as special, unique, but you are not. We have seen thousands of species like yours. Aggressive, proud, foolish. Those who accepted guidance survived and prospered. Those who refused fell into darkness. Hyunwoo had been quiet, but now he spoke. I notice your security forces outside. There are at least 50 guards surrounding this chamber. I don't see that for other delegations. The 3 council members exchanged looks. Your species is considered high risk? Architect Vess admitted. Your history shows remarkable capacity for violence and deception. We are being careful. And either, we are being careful. You're afraid of us, Doyun said with surprise. We are cautious, Speaker Corvin corrected. There is a difference. Dr. Jiwan had finished reading the document. She looked pale. Ambassador. There's something else. Section 47.3. It states that protectorate species can be relocated if their homeworld is deemed strategically valuable. They can take Earth itself if they decide they need it. The room fell silent again. Mireille felt cold anger building inside her. She had come here hoping for friendship, for partnership. Instead, she found something that looked like an empire built on subjugation. How many species are currently under protectorate status? She asked. 312, Architect Vess replied. And how many have ever been released from it? The pause told Mireille everything she needed to know. None have yet earned full status, Speaker Corvin finally said. But the opportunity exists. In time, with proper behavior, a species can advance. 500 years minimum, Mireille said. And then? Then we evaluate. War Master, Theln said. Some species require more guidance than others. Mireille stood up. Her team followed her lead. We need to discuss this among ourselves. And with our government. You have 36 hours remaining, Speaker Corvin said. Use them wisely. This offer will not be repeated. Accept or face permanent isolation. Those are your only options. As they left the chamber, Mireille noticed something. Other species representatives were watching them with strange expressions. Some looked sympathetic. Others looked away quickly. One alien, a being covered in blue fur, caught her eye and made a gesture. Mireille didn't understand it, but she felt its meaning. Warning. Back on the Tahoe, the team gathered in private. Do-yoon sealed the room against any possible surveillance. "They're planning to strip mine our planet and use our people as breeding stock," he said flatly. "The document is designed to look like partnership," Dr. Jiwon said. "But every clause gives them total control. This isn't negotiation. It's surrender with extra steps." Hyunwoo pulled up tactical data. "I counted the guard positions. They have the entire station locked down. If they wanted to take us by force, they could." Mireille sat down heavily. "Then why give us a choice at all?" "Because they want compliance, Doctor," Jiwon said. "Willing subjects are easier to control than prisoners. If we accept, other species see cooperation. If we refuse, we become an example." Do-yoon looked at Mireille. "What do we tell Earth?" Mireille thought about her home. About billions of people who had just started dreaming of the stars. About children who would grow up, either free or enslaved. She thought about humanity's long history of fighting for freedom, even when the odds seemed impossible. "We tell them the truth," she said, "and then we let them decide. But I already know what humans will choose." "What's that?" Mireille smiled, but there was no humor in it. "We've spent our entire history refusing to kneel. I don't think we're going to start now." Earth's leadership gathered in the emergency command center deep beneath Geneva. Screens showed Mireille's report on repeat. President Min Jae-choi watched the footage of the council chambers with growing anger. "They want us to become their slaves," Admiral Tae-jin-cho said. "And they're calling it cooperation." 500 years minimum," said Dr. Soo-min Yoon, head of Earth's FTL research program. "That's 20 generations. Everyone alive today would be dead before humanity even had a chance at freedom." Min Jae looked around the room at the representatives from every nation. "Options? We could accept and look for ways to resist from within," suggested Defense Minister Park. "Work the system. Find loopholes. 312 species are already protectorates," Tae-jin replied. "If there were loopholes, someone would have found them in 50,000 years. This system exists because it works." Dr. Soo-min raised her hand. "I have something to share. We've been analyzing the Council escort ships. Their FTL technology is completely different from ours. They use something called slip space tunneling. It's effective but limited. Our wormhole drive is fundamentally different." "What does that mean?" Min Jae asked. "It means we stumbled onto something they don't have," Soo-min explained. "Their technology is ancient. Refined, yes, but based on principles that are thousands of years old. They've stopped innovating. They don't need to because no one challenges them." Engineer Woojin Nam brought up technical displays. "I've been studying their ship designs from Captain Do-yoon's scans. They're powerful but predictable. Everything is standardized. They've optimized for efficiency, not creativity. In a fight, they'd expect us to behave like every other species. But we could surprise them." Wesley, from Dialer, in quote, "Are you suggesting we fight the Galactic Council?" someone asked. "I'm suggesting we might be able to if we had no other choice," Woojin replied. "But more importantly, they don't know that. They think they have overwhelming superiority. That's an assumption we can use." Tae-jin leaned forward. "We've been thinking about this wrong. We're treating them like they're unbeatable. But they're scared of us. Did you see the guards? They're worried about what humans might do." "Because our history is violent," Min Jae said. "No," Tae-jin corrected. "Because our history shows we don't stay conquered. Every empire that tried to control humans eventually failed. We fight back. Always. That's what scares them." Dr. Soo-min pulled up data on Earth's defenses. "We've built 37 ships with FTL capability. Not much against their thousands, but if we refuse, they'll try to blockade our system. Our technology might let us break through. And go where? Someone asked. The entire galaxy is under their control. The galaxy is big, Woojin said. Bigger than they can possibly patrol. There are empty systems, neutral zones. If we had to, we could survive out there while we built up our strength. Minjae stood and walked to the window overlooking the command center. We're talking about rejecting the council. That means isolation at best. War at worst. Billions of lives are at stake. Billions of lives are at stake either way, Taejin said. If we accept, we lose everything that makes us human. Our freedom, our sovereignty, our children's future. Is survival worth that price? The room fell silent. Everyone knew the weight of this decision. Finally, Minjae turned back. I want to hear from Ambassador Park. Mireille, you're on the ground there. What's your assessment? Mireille's face appeared on the main screen. She looked tired, but determined. Mr. President, I've been thinking about the blue-furred alien who tried to warn us, about the sympathetic looks from some species representatives. The Council talks about peace and order, but I think there are cracks in their system. Species that are unhappy, but too afraid to act. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that if we refuse, we might not be alone. Someone has to go first. Someone has to show other species that the Council can be defied. Taejin nodded. She's right. Every revolution starts with one act of defiance. Maybe it's our turn. Dr. Jiwon's voice came through the comm. I've been analyzing the data they showed us. The 47 extinct or failing species. They chose isolation over submission, but they were alone. Each one fought by themselves. What if instead of fighting, we inspired? How? Minjae asked. We reject them publicly, Mireille said. Not in a closed chamber. We broadcast it across every channel. We make sure every species in the galaxy hears humanity's answer. We explain why we're refusing. We tell our story. Woojin was already working. I can hack their communication systems. The station has broadcast capabilities that reach across known space. If we upload a message, millions of species will see it before they can shut it down. That's an act of war, someone protested. So is threatening to quarantine us, Taejin replied. Minjae looked around the room one final time. This is the most important decision in human history. If we do this, there's no going back. We'll be betting everything on the hope that we're strong enough and stubborn enough to survive what comes next. That's what humans do, Taejin said. We survive. We adapt. We overcome. It's who we are. The vote was called. It wasn't unanimous, but it was decisive. Humanity would reject the Council's offer. They would do it publicly, and they would face whatever consequences came. Minjae contacted Mireille directly. Ambassador, we're authorizing your plan. Compose the message. Make it count. The whole galaxy is going to hear what humans stand for. Mireille nodded. I understand, Mr. President. I won't waste this chance. Over the next hours, Mireille worked on the speech. Dr. Jiwon helped research the Council's history. Captain Do-yun provided military perspective. Hyun-woo reminded her to speak to the other subjugated species, not just the Council. When it was finished, Mireille read it back to Earth's leadership. It was simple, direct. It told the truth about humanity's history, about their struggles for freedom, about their refusal to accept masters. And it invited others to stand with them. It's good, Minjae said. But Mireille, once you deliver this, you'll be in danger. The Council won't let you leave peacefully. I know, Mireille said. Captain Do-yun has a plan for that. What plan? Taejin asked. Do-yun's face appeared on screen. We're going to do something they think is impossible. We're going to jump out from inside the station. Our wormhole drive doesn't need the clearance their slip space does. It's dangerous. It might not work. But if it does, we'll be gone before they can stop us. And if it doesn't work, someone asked. Then at least the message will be out there, Doyun said. That's what matters. Minjae stood at attention. Ambassador Park, you have authorization to proceed. Captain Kim, bring our people home. And everyone. He looked around the room. Prepare for what comes next. Humanity just declared independence from the galaxy itself. Let's make sure we're ready to defend it. Mireille checked the time. 8 hours until the council's deadline. 8 hours to change everything. She looked at her team. Ready? Ready. They all replied. It was time to shock the galaxy. Mireille stood alone in the council chambers. The massive room was filled with thousands of alien representatives, all waiting for humanity's answer. Speaker Corvin, War Master Theln, and Architect Vess sat at the central platform, confident in their power. Ambassador Park, Speaker Corvin said, your time has expired. What is humanity's decision? Mireille took a deep breath. On her wrist was a small device that Wu Jin had built. One tap would activate it. Behind her, hidden among the crowds, Hyun Woo's Marines were positioned at key points. On the Taeho, Do-Yun had his engines ready. Before I answer, Mireille said, I want to make sure everyone hears this. Not just this chamber. Everyone. She tapped the device. Across Apex Prime. Across the Council's communication network. Across thousands of worlds connected to the galactic system. Screens flickered to life. Every species in known space suddenly saw the council chambers. War Master Theln stood immediately. What have you done? I'm making sure the truth is heard. Mireille replied. Her voice carried to billions of beings across the galaxy. For 50,000 years, this council has controlled who travels the stars. They claim it's for peace, for order, but I've learned what that order really means. She pulled up the Protectorate Agreement on holographic displays. They call it cooperation. But look at these terms. Surrender of sovereignty. Resource extraction without consent. Military conscription. Genetic sampling. These aren't the terms of partnership. These are the terms of conquest. Architect Vess tried to interrupt, but Mireille continued. The Council showed us 47 species who refused their offer. They called them failures. Extinct civilizations. But I wonder, were they failures because they chose freedom? Or did the Council make sure they failed? Murmurs rippled through the chamber. On worlds across the galaxy, species who had never questioned the Council suddenly heard uncomfortable truths. My species has a long history, Mireille said. We've made mistakes. Terrible mistakes. We've fought wars. We've hurt each other. But through all of it, we learned one thing. Freedom is worth fighting for. It's worth dying for. And it's worth standing alone for. Speaker Corvin's collective body rippled with anger. You are making a grave error, human. The galaxy is dangerous. Without our protection, you will not survive. Maybe, Mireille admitted. But we'll survive as ourselves. Not as your slaves. She looked directly at the cameras, knowing her words were reaching every corner of known space. My people have been conquered before. Empires have tried to control us. Systems have tried to break us. But we always fight back. We always find a way. Because humans would rather die free than live in chains. Enough! War Master Theln roared. Guards, arrest her! Security forces moved toward Mireille. But Hyun Woo and his Marines stepped out from the crowds. They didn't draw weapons. They simply formed a wall between Mireille and the guards. There's more you should know. Mireille continued. The Council talks about peace, but they maintain it through fear. How many species are unhappy? How many want to leave, but are too afraid? How many have watched others be destroyed for daring to say no? On hundreds of worlds, beings watched and listened, some with fear, some with hope, some with growing anger at truths they had always suspected but never dared speak. Humanity rejects your offer, Mireille declared. We reject your authority. We reject your control. And we invite any other species who wants freedom to stand with us. The galaxy doesn't need masters. It needs equals. The chamber erupted in chaos. Some species representatives stood and applauded. Others shouted in anger. The Council's security forces moved to shut down the broadcast, but Wu Jin's hack was too good. The message continued spreading. War Master Theln descended from the platform, his massive form radiating fury. You have just declared war on the Galactic Council. Your species will be destroyed for this. Will we? Mireille asked calmly. Or will you have bigger problems? As if in answer, 3 species delegations stood up in the chamber. The first was the blue-furred being who had warned Mireille. The second was a floating species that looked like jellyfish made of light. The third was a reptilian race different from the Crovar. The blue-furred delegate spoke. The Keth Collective also rejects protectorate status. We stand with humanity. The floating species representative added, the Luminari have endured council control for 800 years. No more. We seek freedom, the reptilian delegate finished. The Varan people were conquered 2,000 years ago. We never forgot what we lost. Today, we reclaim it. Speaker Corvin's voice boomed through the chamber. This is rebellion. This is chaos. You will all be crushed. Maybe, Mireille said. Or maybe this is the day the galaxy changes. Maybe others are tired of being afraid. Maybe they've been waiting for someone to go first. Alarms began blaring. Doyun's voice came through Mireille's earpiece. Ambassador, we need to move now. Council ships are powering weapons. Hyunwoo grabbed Mireille's arm. Time to go. They ran through the chaos of the chamber. Species were arguing, fighting, fleeing. The Council's guards tried to stop them, but the confusion was too great. Hyunwoo's marines cleared a path. They reached the docking bay where the Taeho waited. Council security ships were trying to block their departure, but Captain Doyun had positioned his ship perfectly. The boarding ramp was already down. Everyone aboard, Doyun shouted. 30 seconds. They scrambled onto the ship. The instant the last marine was through the door, Doyun sealed it and fired the engines. The Taeho pulled away from the dock as energy weapons struck the station around them. They're surrounding us, his tactical officer reported. 72 ships in intercept positions. War Master Theln's voice came over communications. Surrender now, or we will destroy your ship. Mireille reached the bridge. Captain, can you do it? Doyun smiled. Only one way to find out. Everyone, hold on. The Taeho's wormhole drive charged. This was the dangerous part. Creating a wormhole inside a structure the size of a moon could tear both the ship and the station apart. Council technology couldn't do it. Their ships needed clear space. But human technology was different. The wormhole opened right in front of them. Space itself seemed to tear, revealing a swirling portal of impossible colors. The Council ships hesitated, confused by technology they had never seen. Punch it, Doyun ordered. The Taeho shot forward into the wormhole. Behind them, the portal collapsed. 1 second, they were surrounded by enemies. The next, they were light years away, in empty space, far from any Council territory. The crew cheered. They had done it. They had defied the most powerful force in the galaxy and escaped. But Mireille didn't celebrate. She watched the communications panel. Messages were flooding in from across known space. Some threatened humanity with destruction. Others thanked them for speaking truth. And some, most importantly, asked how they could join the resistance. Dr. Ji-won came to her side. The broadcast worked. It's spreading everywhere. The Council can't contain it. What have we started? Mireille whispered. A revolution, Hyunwoo replied. What humanity does best. On the view screen, Earth appeared in the distance. Home, still free, still human. And now, the entire galaxy knew that humans had chosen to stand rather than kneel. The Council would come for them. War was likely. Millions might die. But Mireille looked at her crew. at the messages of hope from enslaved species across the stars, and she knew they had made the right choice. Sometimes the most important thing wasn't surviving. It was living free. The Tahoe set course for Earth. Behind them, the galaxy began to change. 6 months after the rejection, Earth had transformed into a fortress. Admiral Taejin Cho stood on the bridge of the Orbital Defense Station, watching construction crews build new ships every day. Humanity expected the Council's revenge fleet to arrive any moment, but it never came. Captain Eunji Han, Earth's intelligence officer, had been studying Council communications. What she found surprised everyone. She presented her findings to President Min Jae-choi and the military leadership. "The Council is fracturing," Eunji said, displaying intercepted messages. "After our broadcast, 7 species formally withdrew from protectorate agreements. The Council tried to respond with force, but they're stretched too thin. They're dealing with rebellions on multiple fronts." 7 species? Min-jae asked. "That's all?" "That's 7 in 6 months, Eunji replied. "Before humanity, no species had successfully resisted in 50,000 years. Now, others see it's possible. The Council calls it the human contagion. They're more worried about the idea spreading than about fighting us directly." Taejin studied the strategic map. "So, they're ignoring us?" "Not ignoring. Waiting. They're trying to crush the other rebellions first, hoping we'll see what happens and surrender." "That's not going to happen," Min-jae said firmly. Meanwhile, Dr. Suman Yoon worked in her laboratory on something revolutionary. She had been studying the different FTL technologies, looking for ways to improve human drives. What she discovered changed everything. "I can create a communication network that doesn't use Council infrastructure," she explained to her team. "A relay system using quantum entanglement. The Council won't be able to monitor it or shut it down. Species could talk to each other without the Council knowing." Engineer Woo Jin Nam understood the implications immediately. "That's huge. The Council controls information. If we break that control, we break their power." They built the first relay in secret. Then they sent the plans to the 3 species who had stood with humanity at Apex Prime. The Keth Collective, the Luminari, and the Veron people received the technology and began building their own relays. Within weeks, a new communication network existed. Small at first, but growing. Species who wanted freedom could now coordinate without the Council's surveillance. Ambassador Mireille Park had been busy with diplomacy. She met secretly with representatives from 12 different species. Some were protectorates who wanted out. Others were neutral parties interested in alternatives to Council control. The meetings happened on a small moon in unclaimed space. Mireille sat with delegates from across the galaxy, sharing humanity's experience. "We're not special," she told them. "We're just stubborn. The Council counts on fear and isolation. They want you to think resistance is impossible. But it's not. You just have to be willing to try." "Well," a delegate from the Keth asked, "but how do we survive? The Council has resources we need. Trade routes, protection from pirates and raiders. Arlie, 2P, was other with 2. We build our own systems," Mireille replied. "Together. Share technology. Create new trade routes. Protect each other. The Council only has power because everyone believes they need the Council. Break that belief, and everything changes." Not everyone was convinced, but some were. Slowly, carefully, an alliance began forming. Species who wanted an alternative to Council control started working together. The test came in the 4th month. The Krovar Empire, frustrated by Council inaction, decided to punish humanity directly. Warmaster Thelm led a fleet to attack Earth's outer colonies. The battle happened near Jupiter's orbit. 30 Krovar warships attacked the human mining stations. But Taejin had prepared for this. Earth's defense fleet met them with tactics the Krovar had never seen. Human ships used their superior maneuverability to strike and fade. They coordinated in ways that confused the rigid Crovar formations. They used the gas giant's gravity well, in unexpected ways. And when the Crovar tried to adapt, humans changed tactics again. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it ended, the Crovar fleet retreated with significant losses. Humanity captured 1 damaged Crovar ship and several crew members, including War Master Theln himself. Captain Doyun brought the prisoners to a holding facility. War Master Theln expected torture or execution. Instead, Commander Hyunwoo Kang treated him with respect. "You're prisoners of war," Hyunwoo explained. "That means you have rights. Medical care. Food. Fair treatment. We'll exchange you for any humans your people captured." Theln was confused. "Why? We came to destroy you." "Because we're not like the Council," Hyunwoo replied. "We don't enslave or torture our enemies. We fight when we must, but we remember that our enemies are people too." This treatment shocked the Crovar prisoners. They had been taught that humans were savages. Instead, they found a species that followed rules, even in war. The prisoners were eventually returned, but they carried stories back to the Crovar Empire. Stories that made their leaders question what the Council had told them about humanity. The failed attack had another effect. It proved humanity could defend itself. More species began reaching out, curious about these strange beings who had defied the Council and survived. Dr. Jiwon Lee worked with scientists from the New Alliance members. They shared research, combined technologies, and made breakthroughs that surprised everyone. The Luminaries' energy manipulation combined with human engineering created new power systems. Keth biology plus human medicine led to better treatments for diseases affecting both species. "This is what cooperation should look like," Jiwon said. "Not forced, not hierarchical, just beings working together, because it benefits everyone." By the 6th month, 20 species were part of what they called the Free Alliance. It was small, compared to the Council's 300 protectorates, but it was growing, and it represented something the galaxy hadn't seen in millennia: choice. Then the Council sent a message. It wasn't a threat. It was a request to negotiate. Minjae read the message with surprise. "They want to talk? Their position has weakened," Unji explained. "The rebellions are spreading. Their military is overextended. And species are starting to ask why they need the Council at all. They're trying to salvage the situation." Taejin was suspicious. "It could be a trap, probably," Mireille agreed. "But it's also an opportunity. If we refuse to talk, we look unreasonable. If we talk, and they're dishonest, we expose that to everyone. Either way, we win." The meeting was scheduled for neutral space. Both sides agreed to bring small delegations. No weapons. No tricks. When Mireille arrived at the meeting station, she found Speaker Corvin waiting. The collective being looked diminished somehow, less confident than before. "Ambassador Park," Corvin said. "The Council wishes to discuss terms." "Terms?" Mireille asked. "What kind of terms? We understand that humanity values independence. Perhaps we were too rigid in our initial offer. We could adjust the protectorate agreement, reduce the time requirement, give you more autonomy." Mireille shook her head. "We're not interested in being protectorates. Not for 500 years. Not for 50. Not at all." "Then what do you want?" Corvin asked, and there was genuine confusion in the voice. "We want what we already have," Mireille said. "Freedom. The right to make our own choices. The ability to forge our own path. And we want that for other species too." "That's chaos," Corvin protested. "The galaxy needs order. The galaxy needs justice," Mireille corrected. "Order built on oppression isn't peace. It's just delayed violence. You ruled through fear for 50,000 years. That time is ending." Corvin was silent for a long moment. "You've changed everything. Even if we destroyed Earth tomorrow, the damage is done. Other species have seen that resistance is possible. The old order is collapsing. Good, Mireille said. It needed to. What comes next? Corvin asked. War? The galaxy tearing itself apart? That's up to you, Mireille replied. The Free Alliance isn't trying to conquer anyone. We're not trying to build an empire. We're just offering an alternative. Species can choose. Stay with the Council if they want. Join us if they prefer. Or remain independent. The important thing is choice. She stood and looked at the being that represented 50 millennia of galactic control. You can fight this. Try to crush every rebellion. Control every species. Maintain your power through force. But that will only prove you were never about peace and order. You were always about control. Or, Corvin asked quietly, or you can adapt. Become what you claim to be. A council that advises instead of commands. That protects instead of exploits. That serves species instead of ruling them. It's not too late to choose differently. Corvin didn't respond. The meeting ended without agreement. But Mireille knew the message had been heard. She returned to Earth and addressed the Free Alliance members. The Council isn't going to give up easily. There will be more conflicts, more challenges. But we've proven something important. We've proven that the galaxy's biggest empire can be defied, that freedom is possible, that choice matters. President Minjay stood beside her. The road ahead won't be easy, but humanity has never chosen the easy path when freedom was at stake. And now, we're not alone. Across the Alliance, species representatives nodded in agreement. 20 different civilizations, each with their own history and culture, united by one simple belief, that sapient beings deserve the right to choose their own destiny. Captain Doyun looked at the stars from his ship's bridge. 6 months ago, humanity had been alone, facing an impossible choice. Now, they were part of something bigger. Not an empire, not a hierarchy, just free beings working together. Admiral Tajin prepared Earth's defenses, knowing the Council might still attack. Dr. Suman continued improving their technology. Engineer Wujin expanded the communication network. Commander Hyunwoo trained Alliance members in defense tactics. Dr. Ji-Wan shared research with scientists across multiple worlds, and Ambassador Mireille prepared for more diplomatic meetings. More species were reaching out. Some curious, some hopeful, some angry at the disruption, but interested in alternatives. The galaxy was changing. Slowly, painfully, but changing. On Earth, children looked up at the stars and knew they lived in a time when humanity had refused to kneel. When they had chosen freedom over safety. When they had inspired others to do the same. The Galactic Council still existed. They still had power, but their absolute authority was broken, and that crack would only widen with time. Mireille stood in the Earth Embassy, looking at messages from across the galaxy. Requests for information. Applications to join the Alliance. Stories of small rebellions on distant worlds. Questions about how to resist. She smiled. 6 months ago, she had stood alone in that council chamber and declared humanity's independence. She had thought it might be the end of everything. Instead, it was a beginning. The galaxy was waking up. And humanity had been the alarm clock. That, Mireille thought, was very human indeed.